into video game land. Welcome to Fine Time.
Hello, party people. It's your boy Dre. Hello, Plucky people. Hello, Squire people. It's my boy Kevin.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know what to do with that.
Hello, Plucky Steve.
I don't know. I'm feeling more grumpy than Plucky today.
Hello, Fucky Steve.
Maybe later.
I kind of froze when you said that, and I was like, "How do I act plucky?" And I don't know.
I don't think I've ever acted plucky. Maybe I think we have to be English to act plucky. You have to be from the UK.
Okay, well, Canada's partway there.
Partway. Are you still? Is Canada still technically under the monarchy, or like technically?
Yeah, it
like,
totally is.
Okay,
so
yeah, I thought so.
Pluckier than you guys is all I'm saying.
And fuckier.
Mm-hmm.
Plucky and fucky.
Isn't that one of the games in UFO 50? Look at me keeping current.
Yes, Plucky and Fucky rated M. There is an a point and click adventure horror game. So I wonder how this will be rated when it comes to consoles. I hope they don't get a mature just for like one thing. I hope they can just skate with a teen, but we'll see. Anyway, we are here, as you can probably tell. We all played the Plucky Squire. I almost said the Fucky Squire. And we're just going to talk about it. We're going to free for all this in a way, because I don't know if we should start with, usually we kind of do overall impressions and we kind of get into it, but I don't want to do that this time. I think we should start with how we were introduced to this. Steve, was this a Devolver Digital thing a couple years ago? Like one of those E3 funny things?
Yeah, you know how they do the Devolver Directs, and you could correct me on this, but if we weren't having some sort of psychic mind meld for Exoprimal, we were definitely having one for, when our first Devolver Digital Direct closed with this one, look at that fucking Plucky Squire go. He's in a hand-drawn book, but now he's breaking out of it. He's in a kid's bedroom on occasion doing Plucky Squire things like sword play and whatever. Okay, neat. That's cool. And then we find out it's by this new studio where former Pokemon person James Turner is at the helm, and that's why it's looking like the way it does. I mean, granted, that last one is a Steve observation thing that he's concerned about, but, holy crap, appointment playing whenever the fuck this comes out. And then it did. And
I think that was a fair way for us to feel, because that was a cool fucking trailer, and it was new, and we'd never like really quite seen something like this before.
I definitely agree. We were all blown away by this, and we were just like, yeah, wait, this is like, because it was one of those things where it's like, I thought it was a cinematic, and then it was like, wait, that's what the game looks like. I had that same, like, when I first saw Dragon Ball FighterZ, and I was like, wait a second, that's not like a cutscene. The game looks like this. That sort of flat look that you can only achieve with like certain sorts of shading and, cell shading and whatever. They nailed it, and, well, that's probably this game's greatest strength, but I guess we'll get to that. Well, you know what? No, we can get to that right now. How about we just start?
Hold on. Before we get down, I have one question I want to ask you guys, because when I think back to when I initially seen this, like, I wholly was focused on the aesthetic of it, and I don't think I even really put much thought into what gameplay was going to be, and I think that's going to kind of like drive where this discussion goes to in a way, because I think Steve did. Specifically, like, did you have certain gameplay expectations for this, Steve, or did you also just think, I really like the aesthetics of that and it's interesting and unique?
I mean, I like the aesthetics, and we saw a kid's bedroom, and I thought, oh, we're gonna play with the reality of being an actual children's book. I think we're gonna get into how it's definitely not that.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like you kind of do that.
I feel like they do the bare minimum of that.
Okay, you know what? Can we just get here first then? I like the outside the book stuff more than the inside the book stuff. I feel like that's like an unusual opinion.
Whoa. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, because most people complain about the 3D stuff and the stuff in the book they like more. I'm the opposite. I like the stuff out of the book way more. Can we start there? Maybe that's a good discussion.
I don't like hate that, and I don't think the stuff outside of the book is bad. I guess to me that's where the game felt the most restrictive. That's where it felt like the most like maybe the developers' hands were tied as far as, you know, the ability to like be a little bit more expansive in what they can do. And I don't want to give the impression that all of the outside of the book areas look the exact same, but they look relatively similar to me, especially, you know, I can only look at so much like paint sets and pencil sharpeners and like colored blocks and jars of paint. You know what I mean? So I think to me, because this was such an aesthetic thing and it felt restrictive in that way in the 3D environments. That's what, and I didn't not like the 3D environments, but that's why that's surprising to me.
I mean, the outside environments were okay, but it also felt like they were kind of forced upon you or forced upon the development. When people glommed onto that, like they could have skipped upon them later. Like you end up popping out of the book to change pages and things, but you can't take the opportunity to look around the counter. The desk always looks the same until you hit roadblocks, for lack of a better term of this story, where the game literally stops you and say, oh man, Jot better get out of this fucking book and go look for this thing. Otherwise, we're not getting any further along in this story.
Yeah, but see, that's weird. That's one thing I don't really, I mean, maybe it doesn't need to make sense, but like when that happens, then you get out of the book and there's this entire fucking Mario 64 obstacle course for you. So it's like, did the kid just set that up in the room? Or like, is that just, it's time to do this level now, so here it is in the room? Because that's not there if you go out of the book at any other time. Again, it's maybe I should just suspend my disbelief on that one, but it's just, I don't know.
It's hard to suspend your disbelief on that one because you're just fighting 3D versions of what's in the book. You're the beginning. When you get kicked out, you're fighting. You're hiding from beetles, and they maul your ass if they find you. Like, oh, okay.
Those beetles were kind of fucking scary, by the way.
Yeah, they were kind of fucking scary. Like, okay, more of that, please. But then when you get out, it's more of the cute goblins and things for the rest of the game, and it's like, okay, why can't we just fight more things that would be more threatening to you at that size when you're outside of the book? Okay, fine. Hump Grump made all this shit outside the book when it's convenient for the story to do so. Fine. Now it makes sense, but it doesn't make it any less stupid.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
I maybe fall somewhere in the middle. I see where Steve is coming from. I don't think I find it as offensive, but I think overall one of my, other than difficulty, which I'll get to, like just a general feeling like that, another like year of this game, like nothing was wrong with it, like technically, but if they could have just had more time to like flesh out some of this stuff, and definitely the 3D environments, I think could have used more time than anything.
I don't know, guys. I think that stuff was the best. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me like any like 8 or 16-bit game where you're like a little thing, like Castle of Illusion or something, where Mickey is going around these giant books and platforming on them, or like, like Panic Restaurant, Rescue Rangers, anything of that type, right? Of like the early 90s when we did that a lot. Kind of reminds me of that, running it, like you said, with the paints and brushes and books and paper clips or whatever. I don't know. I think that's just something that a motif that I always like. So maybe just for me, that like visually, especially, that's just very appealing to me. Oh my Lord. I don't want to know what that looks like on Switch. I can't even imagine. Jesus Christ.
Visually, I think they did, like, fidelity wise, we all played this on PS5. It looked really fucking impressive in those 3D environments in some cases as well. I remember the first time I walked by one of the like watercolor paint sets and you could see the light dancing across the top, and I was like, damn, like that looks like a real fucking watercolor paint set. Not everything was that good. There was definitely some like jars of paint with like low res labels with text on them and stuff the odd time, but there was a lot of shit that looked like really, really good in the 3D environments too.
I think when you're even in the book though, it's really impressive because it's not just the 2D graphics and they're well animated and stuff. We all know that. We've all seen it, right? That shit is incredible. I think the way the actual book looks, like if it's like depending on the time of day in the room, with the way the lamplight might hit the book and it kind of like washes it out a bit or whatever, and like you could see the fibers in the page. I know that sounds like weird details that like who cares, but those kind of realistic details really bring it home. You know, I think that shit is so important, especially when it's nighttime and you go into the 3. That was my favorite part of the game when you have the, I don't know if I should say. Okay, I'll just say this. When you go outside of the book and it's nighttime, that's all I'll say. I thought the way they used light, I'll leave it there, was very nice. Okay, so like that kind of visual stuff is great. But like I said, on the book itself, Steve, like with the way whether it's lamplight or sunlight or whatever, all that stuff was like super realistic and it made it pop.
No, I can't touch the way the game looks. Even when you're walking around the book and there's that crease in the middle of the page and everyone just stands there like it looks like it's supposed to be. I mean, it sounds stupid, but it just looks right. No one can touch the game on how it looks. It's just everything else about it.
We'll get there, Sparky. Hold your horses. We're gonna talk about
You're the one that wanted to jump ahead.
Okay, you know what? Fuck you. Okay, first of all, I'm going with the flow of battle. Okay? Well, we're here. We're here in the good zone first. Let's do Kevin. You talk about what you liked about this game some more because there's some stuff I actually disagree with here. So you get there and then I'll, as usual, browbeat you into my correct opinion.
Yeah, I think probably when I read your notes, I realized we're probably going to differ the most on the writing. And I did, I liked the style of the writing, and I think it suited, this is a kid's storybook. And they did that justice, but I also didn't find it like, it's cheesy, but it's like the right amount of cheesy. And it did feel kind of whimsical, but it didn't like beat you over the head with like, it's trying to be too cutesy or something. And there was times when it's genuinely funny. It's not like, I'm not saying it's on, maybe not like Paper Mario level of writing, but there were times when it was good, right? The odd time they like made references to like lucrative brand deals, like stuff like that. I kind of liked that.
That's typically, yeah, and as you well know, that Paper Mario style of writing is not for me at all. And I definitely didn't feel that here. I didn't think it was like overly funny. It felt a little random sometimes, though. It felt a little like, I don't know, especially with like the mini games. I don't know how many of them we want to reveal. I mean, we don't want to spoil here, but maybe we could talk about some of the early ones where it's just like, all right, I guess I'm buff now and I'm playing Punch Out. I don't know. It felt
Let's talk about the Punch Out one because that's in the trailer. It's doesn't feel right at all, right? You suddenly turn buff and you're fighting the honey badger, and the game tells you when to dodge. I don't know.
I agree. But out of the mini games, that one was hands down my least favorite one. I thought all of the mini games, barring that, and I didn't think that one was horrible. But the mini games were a major highlight for me. And again, I want to keep it vague because I don't want to get spoilery. There's one that looks and feels so much like a Rhythm Heaven game in the best way. And then there's one later that gave me the same. So do you guys remember, and hopefully you didn't have this spoiled for you because I didn't, when you first played Sonic Mania and there's the Puyo Puyo boss level?
I did not know about that. Yeah,
that was super fucking cool. And I kind of like got that same sensation from one of the boss fights later down the road as well, because they're all mini games. But yeah, I don't know. Like I don't want to just like focus. I know we don't want to get into spoilers, but I also don't want to give the sense that like, because the Punch Out one wasn't great, that the mini games aren't really good, because I thought they were a real strong point.
I wouldn't call them a strong point myself, but I don't think I minded most of them. I like the bow and arrow one. That's an early one, I guess maybe we can say. I like the bow and arrow one. That's probably my favorite.
Probably the best one.
Okay, so you would agree.
I mean, the last one has good tunes, but I wouldn't call it very good.
man, I'm trying to think if there's something else I liked outside of the visuals, and I don't. Oh, the music is also really good. The music is excellent in this game. It's well, I don't want to say orchestrated. The instrument choices are great. I'll put it that way. And it's I was afraid it would be like too like storybooky. Once upon a time there was a squire, and you do have some of that stuff, but it's also like much more involving when it needs to be. It's not just in the background. It's very good music.
I'll use this as a small inroad to say best character was the narrator, right? Or at least he was for me, because
for sure.
I like a narrator who may or may not understand what's going on, who gets easily flabbergasted. I know that's an overplayed whatever, but I don't know. I grew up on Winnie the Pooh. I like that sort of narrator.
It reminded me of the Rocky and Bullwinkle, the fairy tale thing. Yeah. That's the vibe I got, and I love that. So yeah. I guess the voice acting in general, I like the narrator. Is there any other voices? I guess it was only the narrator who speaks, right?
A lot of sound bites from the other characters.
Yeah, a lot of yelling Mo Jang.
Yeah, Mojang. Whatever. Mojang. Do you like how they went crazy on just the PS5? No, do you like how they went crazy on the haptic feedback at the very beginning of the game? When that house was bumped in, they went nuts. And then it's like, there's nothing else in the game that's like, that does that.
Okay, good. It wasn't just me then.
Yeah. I mean, there's like some other DualSense touches, but not really. Oh, I also like how the, just another visual thing. I like when stuff comes out of the book, like when you have to flip yourself out of the book, or the rocks are tumbling down the mountain and then they pop out of the book and they become real rocks. I love shit like that. I know it's like so obvious to do stuff like that, but that shit's my favorite. That's my favorite stuff about Paper Mario, when they do paper things. Honestly. So I really do like when they lean into their motif, no matter how jokey or cheesy it is, personally.
Yeah, I like that. It's just fun.
Okay, let's get into the stuff we don't like, even though we kind of did already. Steve. Okay, that's the good stuff. Let's get into the bad stuff. Okay, let me start here. This is kind of a simple one, but it's something that really bothered me from the outset. I think it sucks that this game does not let you use the D-pad. You have to use a control stick, and I don't think there's any reason for that. Why do they make you do that? It's so imprecise trying to walk around these 2D areas and making you do their little shitty 2D platformers with the controls. It's bad, right? Okay, it doesn't ruin the game. It doesn't mean the game is unplayable or it's super. It's just, it's a weird decision. It doesn't make any sense to me, Kevin.
I mean, I fully agree. I wonder if in their mind, because when they're like, all of a sudden putting you into a 3D environment, they don't want you to try and use the D-pad. Maybe just like the idea of like switching back and forth between the D-pad and the stick. But I'm just playing devil's advocate as well. I want really any time where something is in 2D, my go-to is using the D-pad. So I'm with you.
Steve, you hated this, right? I can't believe we haven't talked about this amongst us till now, just now.
I hate to be this person, but even in 3D, you're not really doing 3D stuff, right? It's kind of just on an angle. There is no real reason to... No D-pad for you, sir. Here.
I was shocked. I was like, I thought my controller wasn't working. Like, legit. I was like, wait a second. Which is dumb because I've been pressing X or whatever to get into the menu. So I'm like, of course, duh, it is working. But I was just shocked that wasn't the case. All right. I think... How do we describe this? So, like, I guess there's kind of like three main modes of the game. There's like the book 2D Zelda stuff. There's a 3D outside stuff. And then there's like the side-on 2D platformer stuff. And quite frankly, I already said I like the 3D stuff the best. I don't think any of the Zelda stuff or the platform thing is very good. I just don't think so. It's my second biggest gripe of the game. I'll get to my biggest gripe of the game later, but I feel like Among Us and like people online, Kevin, that's like the big talk.
I want you to like narrow that down a little bit more. What do you think you don't like about the 2D parts? Because I have well, like the whole game, I have something I explicitly don't like, and I wonder if it's kind of where where you're going with it too.
Well, as far as like the platforming goes, it's just like it's so basic. Mm-hmm. It's so like hop and bop, like here, not even like it's just it's something I don't even know how to describe it really. It's so basic. Okay, you know what I likened it to? You know, like in Link's Awakening, when you do the 2D parts and you do cute, when you get the Rock's Feather, you do cute little things like jump on the Goombas. I legit think those are more involved than the ones in the Plucky Squire. I do. Like, that's how simple these are. And if you're going to have those sections, they got to be more involved in that. And with the Zelda stuff, I guess there's some fun, like, I like placing the words and stuff, like, oh, this gate was closed, put the word open in there. This gate was open and the gate opens. That's like a fun concept. But then, like, it's just too easy. Like there's no resistance in your path to make that difficult at any point, Kevin. It's just like switching the words until you figure it out and then you go on your path. There's like, I get it. Maybe like this is like a Princess Peach Showtime situation, or me and Steve said, maybe we're just not the target audience for this. And you could say that about the Plucky Squire, but honestly, I don't think that's the case. I just think this game is a pushover in a bad way.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I was wondering you were going to go with this, because hands down, the biggest problem I had with this overall game was difficulty, and definitely the puzzles. I never really felt overly challenged. The odd time it would take me a minute to figure something out, but nothing that I was like, I really need to think about this, and that wasn't great. But the combat was laughable. Because every fucking single time you take a hit from anything, immediately the game is like, do you want a heart? Here's a heart. If you happen to take 2 hits, you get a big heart that gives you like fucking 3 or 4 back. So the thing is too, like the combat isn't overly complex, but it does have enough legs where they give you like a dodge roll and they give you multiple sword moves, and so the combat isn't a weak point, right? I could see if the combat was incredibly weak and they needed to overcompensate because you kept getting hit because it sucked, but that's not the case. And they could, like, I just never really felt like I had any skin in the game, and that feels shitty because it really like did change the way I played, and not in a good way. I was just like, and I was losing hearts because I didn't give a shit. I was just running in, like ramming everything with the sword. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't want to play that way. I want to like think about how I'm approaching these situations, but what's the incentive? Because even, if I play that way or not, I'm just, like, why not just like ram my way through here? Now, here's another thing. One time I lost all of my hearts, and the reason was because there's a section that you can go into and you're supposed to light it up before you can go in there, but I didn't. I went in there and I got stuck, and it's not like it's dark, it's black. And so I got stuck in this area and I couldn't figure out where to get out. And it was like, losing my 6 hearts consecutively, one after the other. And you know what the penalty was? It puts you back at the start of that fucking page, right? So it's not like they're sending you back to a checkpoint that was 10 minutes ago. So you're like so careful that I can't lose any of my fucking hearts. But if you are so bad at the game that you happen to like actually do that, there's no penalty anyways. And it's just like, so here's where this all culminated. Like an hour or 2 into the game, I realized, I was like, oh shit, when you start, it asks, do you want story or adventure? I was like, I must have hit story. And so I went in and checked, and sure enough, it was on adventure. Like, what the fuck is story?
I don't
like,
even
honest
know.
to God, because this is genuinely what I would have expected if I had selected story, and that didn't ruin the game for me, but my enjoyment to this game was significantly decreased because of the difficulty.
Once you get past graphics, the game has a fairly specific loop of, okay, we're going to open the page now. We solve puzzles by switching nouns and adjectives around. And then there's other occasional actions that you're allowed to do when the game lets you. And as we already been over, sometimes you go outside the book to collect your doodad. You keep doing this until the game is over. And to spin this back to a little bit ago, I kind of wish they did a little bit more with this. I was kind of hoping, man, this book is owned by somebody who lives in this house. Why couldn't we play with this a bit? Yes, the game is linear, but why couldn't we use that to our advantage? Like, say Sam has a little brother called Max, and he's a little shithead who's drawing shit in the book. And
Sam and Max.
Thank you, Andre. You explained the joke for everybody. And he's a little shithead drawing.
Wow,
Shots
dude.
fired.
Jesus fucking Christ. This guy's on one today. Sorry, I'll let you cook. God damn.
And he's drawing shit in the book all the time, and that stuff's coming to life. Or denizens are drowning in scribbles. Or, his dad, he's had one too many, and he needs the book to even out the chair legs. So you need to find an alternate way to navigate through pages until such a point where Sam comes home and takes the book back. I mean, it's like we're already playing the game on easy mode. Just let us do different things. But no, as we've already discussed, this is already just what other indie games do on easy mode while it's masquerading as art class. Somebody in all possible futures had a monkey's paw that listened to our show while Andre was saying, graphics is gameplay, and no, I don't want to be challenged ever, out of context, and decided to spin it into the Plucky Squire.
Oh my God. Are you done, or can I come out? Are you going to beat me? Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
okay.
Yes, I'm not going to beat you.
Okay, not this time. Not on the air anyway. Look, I mostly agree with you. However, I think what you were I think like with the more dynamicism with the book or whatever, I just think that's beyond the scope of whatever this game was going to be. I never expected anything like that. And I don't even mind that the tasks were kind of repetitive. Go in book, get out of book, get thing, go back in book, whatever. That's okay. If it was just more interesting or challenging, I honestly wouldn't have minded it. And maybe this is a good point for me to say this. I didn't mind the game overall. I gave it a B- when I rated it. That's good. I mean,
I did too, and that's the thing. If I was challenged along the way, I probably would have overlooked that sort of thing, but I wasn't.
All right. I can't.
Again, okay.
Go ahead.
So I think there's kind of like a happy medium here where I agree with Andre when he said that just wasn't the scope of the game. But so when we're talking about drunk dad sticking the book under a chair, I get why it's not there, despite I'm sure that would have elevated it for all of us. However, when Steve's also talking about like when the game lets you, I agree it was restrictive in that way too. It really fucking pissed me off one time when I was doing a puzzle in the book, and my first thought, because they give you one mechanic where you like flip the pages back and forth, and another mechanic where you just like physically tilt the book. And I had been able to tilt the book for quite a while, but my first thought was to solve this puzzle was that I need to tilt the book. So I popped out of the book and I went to the edge, and at this moment it didn't allow me to tilt the book. You can only tilt the book when it does and does not want you to. And that makes no fucking sense to me as well, because like there's no reason for it. If I tilted the book and that's not the answer to the puzzle, just make it do nothing, but let me fucking try. I mean,
yeah, it's weird.
It's supposed to be this game of creativity. Yeah, let us shake the book around. Just like shake the trees around a bit. Even if it does nothing for the gameplay, like, okay, it's not doing shit on this page.
I think what they were trying to prevent was someone going, if just thinking about it abstractly, I think someone going through the book and tilting every page and slapping every page together to see if that's a solution. I don't think I think they were trying to prevent like people from doing that, where it's like, okay, if you really are not supposed to tilt the book here, then we're just not going to let you. Which again, I agree with you. That feels like not very adventurous, but I think they didn't want people to go back through pages and well, because you know what, that would have solved it, right? Because you can just flip back through the entire book and go wherever you want again and go back to the page. Maybe if at some point they cut you off, like at a chapter, it's like, no, you can't go before this chapter or whatever. I think that would solve the whole thing.
But I think they do that. I think you can only flip the pages back to the current chapter you're on. I don't think when you're like, I don't think when you're late in the game, because I remember flipping back trying to figure something out one time, and I think once you got back to that chapter, like I don't think you can go back to the start of the like every place you've been.
I tried gaming the system, but with other words, and it doesn't let you go that far back.
Okay, well, fuck me, I guess. I mean, I guess whatever. I mean, yeah, I guess they did think of that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think they were just trying to get you to keep you on track the best they could, I guess.
Yeah. Even so early on, the first time I got into the 3D environment, you can like kind of like jump around and like try and get to places where you're not necessarily supposed to be. And that was the first thing I wanted to do. I'm trying to like, jump on these like gradually larger jars and items because I can like see this like landing up higher. And I'm like, okay, obviously I have to like fuck around until I can get up there. And I did get up there eventually. It was kind of a pain in the dick because it was just like a little janky where I could like stand on and stuff, but there's nothing up there. There's no, like, you learn very quickly, like you can, there's not really like, there's nothing like really hidden in these 3D environments where you've got to like work for it necessarily. Basically what you see is what you get. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't feel great either.
Yeah, I guess so. I understand. That didn't bother me personally too much because I kind of took the 3D sections as more like a kind of a straightforward, like a Sackboy or like Mario 3D World, right? Like this sort of like straightforward, like, yeah, it's a 3D environment, but really you're just going to go here and there and that's it. And that was okay with me. Maybe that's why I enjoyed those the best. But okay, I can't hold back anymore. I need to talk about the thing I actually hate the most about this game. The fact that this game does not shut the fuck up. Every single page you turn, you enter the page, you have to stop there, you have to stop for talking. There's always a conversation, always a gag, always somebody stopping the game and saying something about something. When you enter the page, when you get to this item, when you get to a new warp point, hey, maybe you should try jumping out of the book here. Well, no shit. You said that the last 50 times I found a warp point. Like, do we have to stop and talk about every single thing? Imagine a Zelda dungeon where every 2 screens, someone wants to talk to you. It's ridiculous. Like, can I just play the game? God damn it! Like, did anyone else feel this way? I felt it was so interrupting, so handsy, every single second.
Yes, Andre, it is because yes, it's a children's book. If you turn the page and the narrator says the words on the page, okay, good, you could express things that way. But then everybody you're with suddenly has something to say. Let's say you're in or out of the book. Oh man, Mini Whiz might have something to say too. And if you're outside the book, Bookworm might also have something to say. Oh my God. It's like, holy shit, can I play the fucking game? Can you have any faith in your player? And let us play the fucking game on our own.
Remember when you get to the city and that guy wants you to gather pigs? Every time you put one in there, okay, there's 3 pigs left, blah, 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 blah. Okay, there's 2 pigs left, blah, blah, blah. Okay already, God damn it, shut up.
I know how to count. That's why we have PlayStation 5.
It drove me insane. And you know what? The further reason why this is annoying is because games like this that are like basically aesthetic over gameplay, which, is not a bad thing. I've said that a million times on this show. You can do that. And that's why ultimately I feel like this game is a B- and not like a D or something with the way we're talking about it, because it's so aesthetically beautiful and there's so many great things about it. You love the narrator, etc. But games like this that are aesthetic over gameplay, you have to have the pacing right. They really rely on that. Like, I know I always go to Killer 7 for example. That's aesthetic over gameplay. You're not there for gameplay. You're there for that, but it has pacing. You're getting to stuff you're hearing, and you want to hear what those people have to say. You don't want to hear what these little twerps have to say. So
I just have to say,
I can't.
For the record, this was not a problem for me, and I'm not invalidating these criticisms because I can absolutely see where you're coming from. There's a lot of exposition there, and I think that's something normally that gets on my nerves for whatever reason. To me, this was just, I mean, I think I expected, because this was a story book, that there was going to be lots of that in there, and it didn't bother me. But I also think at the same time, because the first I'd really even thought about this was when I was reading Andre's notes before the show. If we would have had this discussion, when I was 2 hours into the game, it probably would have got on my nerves. So again, I think it's a valid concern. Just it was fine for me.
Look, I know why Kevin's really defending all this talk, because Mini Whiz sounds like Whiz on Super NES, and he's going to defend that to his dying breath.
I still, to this day, legit do not know what that game is. He's talked about it for literal years to us, and I have no idea what it is.
Man. Are you sure you should archive it? It's fun.
I'll archive it.
I think it's funnier if we never play it.
No, it might be funny if we both play it for the first time.
Just gaslight me into thinking that it doesn't exist.
It only came out in Canada, okay? It doesn't exist.
We'll play it when it comes out on Switch Online, we promise.
Oh my god, if that ever, oh my fucking god. Okay, if that ever comes out on Nintendo Switch Online, Kevin has to pre-record a segment for one of our shindigs, for one of our, mini reviews.
How great it is.
Yeah, talk about how great it is and give it like an A+++ or something like that. Maybe like an opening segment. Yeah, guys, I think I've said all I can say about this. I would love to see what this team does next. I'll put it that way. I think this is a good starting point. I think they can improve upon what's here. And I think this B- game could have easily been a B+. Gameplay problems at all, too easy and stuff like that. If they had just cut out a lot of that dialogue or made it like walking and talking instead of just stopping and like dialogue boxes. Yeah, I think this team has a future. I really hope this does well for them. I do, even despite everything we said.
And I think it did. It seemed like it made a pretty big splash when it came out for an indie game.
Yeah.
Yes, despite my complaining, I think there's a very possible future for these people too.
All right, is that it? We're good?
I have a question that I want to ask you guys.
Okay.
And I think this could apply to really almost anything, but I specifically really dwelled on it when I was playing this, because it occurred to me that, and 100%, these faults I'm venting about, the difficulty and feeling it's a bit restrictive and stuff, that's definitely there. But I think to some degree I was amplifying them in my mind, because I knew I was going to be talking about this on Fine Time. And I think if I was playing this with no expectation that I had to was expected to be have a critical thought about it, I definitely still would have noticed those faults, but it wouldn't have stuck out to me as much. And it's kind of in general, it just made me wonder, when I am playing games that I know I'm going to be talking about on the show, obviously that's just naturally going to introduce some sort of bias. But I wonder, now I'm just curious, how pronounced is that? And, if I played this without, expecting to talk about it on the show, would I have enjoyed it more? If I played A Dawn of Sorrow without knowing I was going to talk about it on the show, would I have not been so pissy about the seal drawing? I don't know. And I was just wondering if you guys think you have that going on too.
I definitely don't think so. This is just the way, how do I say it? The way we do Fine Time is the way I've always thought about video games. That's one of the core reasons why I'm doing this, is because I feel like people let things slide too often. I feel like there would be a lot of shows who might play the Plucky Squire. Oh, it looks so good. It's so cute. I love the drawings. Oh, it's so fun when you go out of the book and do this. And then that's it. A++. And I don't think they think about it very critically. I just don't want to do that. And then I get, because I've heard reviews like that, and then I get the game and then it fucking sucks. Okay. Plucky Squire doesn't suck, right? But it's just it's just come on, it's you guys didn't talk about all this shitty stuff about it. And that's literally why I'm here. I want to bring balance to that. And that doesn't mean I always want to come on here and shit on something. It's just that I don't know, man. The nuts and bolts interest me. And I feel like, Steve, we have to talk about that stuff. I don't think a lot of people do. I don't think most people do.
I agree. I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I was a bit softer on a lot of this stuff, but as time goes on, I'm playing more games. I have more access to games, but less time to play games. So I'm sitting here going, time is finite. And a lot of you people are kind of just sliding shit through the door. I don't know.
What you must you sound like one of those Gamergate things where it's like, we must hold these guys accountable for their actions.
No, not necessarily, but you know, maybe Call of Duty isn't the best game released every year, you guys. Just saying.
You know, I love to be. I think that's. You know what? I think that's a better way to say it. Now that I think about it, we give credit where credit's due, even in like the shittiest game. Steve, we've watched the shittiest movies. How many times do I come on there and say, "Well, this part was good and that part was good," and you're like, okay, Dre, but the movie sucks. I know it sucks, but we have to talk about the stuff that's good, you know? And I always push that angle. I'm the same way with the video games. I don't want to go buy a good video game and not say the game stuff that's bad, and vice versa. I don't want to not say the stuff that's not good. So
I fully agree that's important for a podcast. I'm just thinking that maybe sometimes being like blissfully ignorant of these things and not thinking too hard about it would be more blissful, perhaps. I don't know.
And hey, you know what? There's shows like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I didn't even mean to imply that it's bad if you think about games that way. That's totally fine. It's just that for this show, I want to do something different. And to more to what you said, no, that is how I think about video games. I don't think about it that way just because I'm doing a podcast about them. Like if I'm playing a game and I know I'm not going to talk about it in the air, it's not like I think about it differently, right? So that's just how my brain works.
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay.
I mean, you know, me and Andre do run games completed lists on Blue Sky that people can check out, and not all the games we have on those lists are talked about on the show, so you can delve through our thought processes at any time, folks at home.
What Steve is trying to say is follow us on social media. We'll be right back. Oh, wait. Do you want to take a shower now or later? What are you guys feeling?
Now?
Okay. Now. Kevin's ready. All right, get them pants off.
It's time to hit the showers. We'll be right back on Fine Time.
All right, feeling good. You know what's good after a nice hot shower? A nice icy cold Oreo Coke.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you never heard of it? It seems like there's one in your hand, Steve. Maybe we should try it together.
I
mean, we're here.
Okay.
All right, let's open it. Let's open it for the people. Oh, it doesn't smell like Oreos.
It smells like sugar, which is weird because it's Coke Zero.
It is. Okay, you ready for this? I think this is going to be... Okay, predictions.
No.
I think this is going to be terrible.
Yeah, I'm not liking this, and I'm the Coke person on this show.
Yeah, I'm the Pepsi guy. But last time we tried a Pepsi product, this time we're going Coke, Oreo Coke. Okay, let's take a sip now. Ooh. That ain't bad.
I don't know.
That ain't bad. It does taste like Oreos. That ain't bad.
But I don't know if I like that, though.
Yeah.
For a soda.
Oh, man, I'm going to have some more. I think I kind of like it. That is not bad.
No, they nailed it, but I don't know if I like that at all.
I wouldn't like this if this were, because usually I drink soda room temperature, but for like these purposes, I always put them in the fridge. I drink them cold since that's how they're quote unquote supposed to be drinking. This is one of those where I don't think I would like this room temperature. This is a soda I would actually want to drink cold like I am right now. Man, it's good. It tastes like the Oreo cream and the cookie and everything, man. I'm kind of impressed.
I'm equally impressed, but this is not a Steve soda at all.
Okay, well, I mean, whether you like it or not, I think we can confirm it does taste like Oreos.
No, it does.
So if you were wondering about that,
oh man,
I'm gonna put the lid on here. Save some of that for later.
I think I'm gonna try and pass this off to others in the house.
Really, you don't like it that much?
Be like, hey guys, look at this.
I don't know. You seem to. So, okay. Do you like this less than the Peach Pepsi? Because you finished the Peach Pepsi.
Yeah, begrudgingly, but yes.
Wow, I'm shocked. I don't know. I kind of like it. Again, I'm not going to get this all the time. I'm not going to get a 24-pack of Oreo Coke, right? But I don't know.
I didn't exactly run back to the store for Peach Pepsi.
No, I didn't get any more either. Yeah, that was surprising. I was not expecting to like that.
You know what I was expecting? You ever have oh God, what's that chocolate milk? You ever have the Bosco soda?
We don't have that here.
Well, not a lot of people do. It's like very few people will just have that at the pumps, but that's not very good either. But that was the kind of flavor profile I was really kind of expecting from this. It's not that at all.
Okay, yeah, it's Oreos. Yeah, I don't. That concludes that. I'll probably have this one more time. I will have it one more time, then that's it. I don't think I'll get this on a regular basis, but I am impressed by the Oreo Coke. Gotta say.
I'll be able to answer people honestly if they ask me about it, but I'm not buying this again.
Okay, before we move to our big question, when I was buying this at the store, mind you, I was taking a 1 a.m. walk to the store because I was worried, okay, I'll see if they have it. They did have it. The lady at the counter was ringing me up because I got this and another soda, and she held it up. She's like, have you tried this yet? I was like, no, I haven't tried it yet, actually. She's like, I've seen people buy it and it looks pretty interesting. Like she was very hesitant. I said, okay, next time I see you, I'll report back and tell you if it's good. So now I can go back and tell her it actually does taste like Oreos.
Well, I got it at the gas station where I pick a Mexican Coke sometime, and I had two of those with me along with this purchase, and the guy looked at me like, you don't usually get this, sir.
Okay, did he literally say that or just give you the look?
No, he had that look like, you're in here like at least once a week, and this is not what you buy.
Yeah, you usually get the Rhino dick pills and the fucking... Does your 7-Eleven have those? Because mine is like fully stocked with that bullshit.
7-Eleven, no. Gas stations... some of them.
Okay. Yeah, our 7-Eleven's full on. You can get the Rhino ones, you get the double Rhino, you can get any of the varieties, man. It's ridiculous. Extends, they have Extends. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
so is Rhino for girth and Extends is for length? Is that the idea?
I don't know what the Rhinos. I think Rhino is supposed to make you last a long time. I think. Okay. Is what it's supposed to do.
I'm not going to pretend that I've ingested any of these, Kevin.
I think Canada Health said no to these, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Only in America.
America Health said no to these too. It's just sold by stores that don't give a shit.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, you keep your American dick pills. I have the biggest news story of the year that I get to do on the show.
Ooh. Okay.
So yeah. The biggest. Tony Hawk recently did a YouTube interview on a show. Tony Hawk eats his last meal. So it's kind of, if you know what Hot Ones is, similar to that, on a YouTube channel called Mythical Kingdom. And he was asked about plans for the 25th anniversary of the franchise later this year. And he said, I can tell you that I have been talking to Activision again, which is insanely exciting. We're working on something. And he goes on to say it's something the fans will truly appreciate. Everybody jumped to that this is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 plus 4, which was acknowledged to have been discussed after 1 and 2, but kind of got lost in the Activision purchase shuffle. I definitely think that's what it is. And I would be fucking stoked if that's the case. But I also just wanted to throw out an idea. I think if they were going to do something new, Tony Hawk Pro Skater Underground 3 would be right for the picking.
So obviously you're much more in this world than me. I definitely do think this is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 or 4, but okay, I know there's probably a lot of people out there who want like a new Tony Hawk game, but Kevin, do you really want them to make that? Because I don't think anybody should want that. Because like it's the same thing I always say about Castlevania. Like, oh, there hasn't been everyone's like, oh, there hasn't been a Castlevania in 15 years, 16 years. Yeah, dog, because you don't want Konami to like do that.
No.
Okay, so like you don't want 2024 Konami. You do not want 2024 Activision, even if they get back the old guys. Let's say they dragged Mick West out of a UFO and like had him do this. I just don't think Kevin, would you want that? I don't think you would.
Man, you've got a point for sure. Would I play it? Absolutely.
Oh no.
But I mean, yeah, and you know what? I'm not saying that it necessarily would go like severely wrong, but I think it would be really, really hard for them to like capture the spirit of what was getting done when Tony Hawk was good quite a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Are you into any other like Tony Hawk likes, for lack of a better term? Have you ever been into Skate, or have you been into like any of the other like ones from the 2000s?
I fucked with like Matt Hoffman BMX and Dave Mirra and stuff back in the day.
Okay,
and those were good. I played Skate a little bit when the first one came out on 360, and it's like wildly different than playing Tony Hawk. It's the gameplay is a complete separation, and I can see why people like that, but that wasn't what I wanted. Something much more arcadey.
Okay, I can understand that. Those probably go in a direction that's more realistic, which was what you did at the time. But yeah, Tony Hawk's 3 and 4 is what it sounds like to me, Steve. I don't see what else it could be.
I don't know. With all these retro revivals coming out of the woodwork, I think Kevin might have to settle down for the possible reality that it might be Tony Hawk's Pitfall.
Tony Hawk's Super Pitfall. You know, I'm going to have more of the soda. It was good.
I'll play some Tony Hawk Pitfall too. That's okay.
God,
Tony's
okay, you know what? The more I drink it, the more I like it. It's really good.
You enjoy your cookie soda.
It's so good. I'm kind of getting there. It's growing on me. It's growing on me. Okay. All right, there was a state of play a couple days ago. Thank you, Sony, for providing us something to talk about today other than Plucky Squire, more like the Fucky Squire IMHO, see what I did there, and Tony Hawk. But this wasn't like a super great state of play, but there's a couple nuggets, I guess I would say, guys, right? It was okay.
This was some manner of damage control state of play. Concord's dead. PS5 Pro didn't exactly take off the way everyone thought.
It's $700 goddamn dollars. Jesus Christ. I mean, anyway, I guess we can just start. What was the first thing they showed? Astrobot DLC. Kevin has played Astrobot, so interest of you, I guess.
I mean, it's free. It looks fairly small, but definitely I'll play that when it comes out. I really hope it's an indication that they're going to keep supporting that game, because honestly, if they came out with a $30 DLC with a good chunk of more levels, like that would be the kind of game I would want that for.
I want this to become like a every couple years franchise. I want them to keep making these, just keep using these graphics and just keep putting stuff, just make more shit. I this is one of those series that I feel like they could go like full, like what we used to do with like Crash Bandicoot or Spyro, just reuse those assets, just keep making more, Steve.
Well, I'm going to play this game eventually, like way later than all of you, I'm sure, at the rate I'm going. But when I saw this announcement and I saw like it said something like speed running levels for Astrobot, I'm like, okay, so they tailor-made this one for Kevin, right? Because he's like, someone's been listening to our show and they've been listening to us talk shit about, so like, guys, we need one for Kevin. Like, what is Kevin into? He likes speedrunning shit. Well, and he likes Astrobot, so here it is.
Yeah, well, and they had specific speedrun levels in Astrobot Rescue Mission that you could do if you wanted to get the platinum, and they were good. So I'm happy.
I really like the thing they showed afterwards, the Midnight Walk. It looked the claymation one. That looked crazy. That was so cool. Please God be good. I'm a little gun shy after the Plucky Squire now. Please be an excellent game.
That looked fucking great, and I'm glad it's not just in VR because they could have easily just said VR 2 exclusive, and they didn't.
Well, speaking of which, Metro Awakening was after that, and I was like, boy, there's a lot of VR in this presentation. They're kind of going ham.
Usually they just arrange that shit nicely together, but this time they just spread it out willy-nilly. I didn't like that about this show.
It was, I don't know, man. Maybe they gotta sell that. Well, I guess maybe they don't have to sell that thing. But I think the weirdest thing, well, maybe not weird, the most surprising thing in here to me was that they shadow dropped Pal World on PS5, which nobody saw coming. And it's very weird timing because Nintendo filed a lawsuit against them this week, Steve.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that I wasn't going to have to address this because of how vague the lawsuit is at this time, but I'm not going to pretend that I'm a lawyer on this show like everyone else on the internet is. You ever notice how everyone's a lawyer on the internet? They all seem to know so much on what's legal and what's not when it comes to this shit. Anyway, I don't know. I know they're not specifying what they're suing about right now, but maybe don't trace over Pokemon with or without AI. Maybe don't do that. I know that's not what patents cover, but it's gross and disgusting. And you know, I know that we're Poke Pals, but, you know, we came up with that name before Pal World. So, you know, and we came up with that on that name on the fly to talk about Poke stuff. And none of us will ever be caught dead playing this game for content. And this is coming from the guy who played Balan Wonderworld cover to cover. Also, it bears mentioning that they won't be selling this in Japan. Gee, I wonder why.
That was the funniest tweet of the day. Wario64 just tweeted Power World PS5 has no release date in Japan. It's like, no shit.
Steve, do you think the PokePals could sue Pal World for infringement as well?
Ooh.
If only we registered that.
You didn't? What are we even doing here?
Well, when I finally piss off Steve for the last time and he forms the Poke Pals with them and their own podcast, maybe we'll see how that goes. Okay, so they showed Lunar Remastered Collection, and I don't know how much I've ever talked about this on this show. I've tried many times to like Lunar. I've tried emulating Sega CD. I've tried PS1. I've tried PSP remake from 2010 or whatever. I've tried so many times. I cannot get into Lunar, but maybe I'll just put on the clown makeup one more time and try again with this new one. Steve.
You know, I've never played a Lunar. I've certainly read about all the iterations of Lunar over the years in magazines. I mean, I'll give it a try. Maybe not right away, but, you know, certainly eventually. This might be the time, finally.
I know the very first big question on this show, I was asking you guys to help me not be interested in something stupid and Sonic related. And I'm going to ask you again, because they showed Sonic X Shadow Generations with the Keanu Reeves doing the voice of Shadow, because he's doing it in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie. So it's like a tie-in DLC. I hate how good that looked, and I hate how interested I am in this. Because fuck me. Why am I such a fucking sucker for this series? Why am I like this?
Do you love Keanu?
I hate this about myself. I don't like him that much. I mean,
again, because we're a visual, not a visual medium. I need you all to imagine me on, you know, the Sickos t-shirt meme, like looking at Andre going, yes, play the game, Andre.
I'm going to. Oh my god! You know I'm gonna. The reason why I'm saying this out loud is because I'm basically admitting I'm going to. Because fuck me, Steve. Talk about Dragon Age.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about Dragon Age because I've never played a Dragon Age. Because I'm watching this trailer, and maybe one of you have played a Dragon Age, and maybe you can all tell me whether this actually looks like it's supposed to be good or not. because this trailer did not tell me with a month to go until release if this is going to be a good game or not. And we all know that BioWare is in very deep shit at this time.
Yeah, this is their last shot. We've been saying it after Anthem. We've been saying, well, after I guess the 1-2 punch of Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem, everything's riding on Dragon Age. If this comes out and it sucks, it's over for them, because we know how Electronic Arts loves to do that. If they'll never stop not doing that. They showed Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. I feel like this has been rumored and leaked forever. So here it is. I would say that these games aged poorly, but I just don't think they were ever the shit in the first place. That doesn't mean that they were bad. It's just that there's a reason why all you hear about these games is the characters and the voice acting and the art style or whatever. You don't hear a whole lot about the gameplay. That's for a reason. But I think I could probably give these a shot again if for cheap.
I've never played one. Like I said, PS1's always been something of a blind spot in a way. Right price, I'll try it.
There wasn't a whole lot in the sizzle reel, although I did like that one called Fear the Spotlight. That was interesting. It was like the PS1 looking horror game. It's like, I can get into that. I as long as I don't do the hide and seek bullshit, like it's like Alien Isolation or something. It's like, yeah, that looks cool. I didn't know we were moving to PS1 graphics in the indie space. That's the new hotness, I guess.
Andre, I got some bad news. With a name like Fear the Spotlight, I think it's going to be like 95% hide and seek bullshit.
Uh-oh. Guess maybe I don't want to play it, Kevin.
I did not like the way this looked, and I think like if they want to do a PS1 style graphics, that's fine. But it looked like there was like this weird like shitty film grain on the entire time. Did you guys notice that? I don't know.
Yeah.
It seemed like they wanted to go for PS1, but then they couldn't like quite make up their mind what they wanted to do, so they tried to jazz it up.
I wonder if that's just a filter though, because oh my god, what's that game I play a little bit of every Death Road to Canada? They have a weird film grain thing, and that's just a filter I can turn on and off. I wonder if that's the case here.
I hope so. I maybe they were just trying to emulate like the 240p output without actually running at that resolution, which they should just run at that resolution, because who cares? It looks. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a look. Well, you guys, okay. Very early in our previous creative endeavor, we played a game called Back in 1995. You remember that, Steve?
How can I forget?
That actually looked like a PS1 game. This is a little off, but yeah. Dynasty Warriors Origins was right after the sizzle reel, and oh my good god, this is incredible. Oh my fucking god. The dynamics on display here are absolutely ridiculous. Lately, I've been making a case, you guys know this, of like new systems to do stuff like put a bunch of shit on the screen. I've been calling for that for months now, and here it is. Like, we're doing it. Please, God, Dynasty Warriors Origins, don't do the shitty attacking system of Dynasty Warriors 9. Bring back the charge system. Let me enjoy what is basically going to be my game of the generation. I'm barely joking. Like, if this fires on all cylinders, I can't wait. They revealed the release date. It's sometime in January. Cannot come soon enough. Dynasty Warriors Origins, please, God, save me.
Yeah, I can't wait for Andre to play this game. He needs this desperately. Desperately needs to play this game.
So I'll shut the fuck up about it, right?
No,
I did. I was thinking about you the whole time during that segment. So
thank you. Anybody got anything to say about Monster Hunter Wilds? I figure we've seen it a lot at this point, but
that one was looking at that. The gameplay looks fine. Did you guys notice that the faces and the facial animations kind of looked like shit, and they probably would have last gen, or was it just me? There was one point even where the mouth movements weren't even remotely fucking close to the speech. I wonder if I don't know. It seems like maybe there's some budget issues with that game or something.
That's never been an issue in Monster. Well, not an issue. That's never been a concern in Monster Hunter. It's primarily online. They've never really sunk the time into that.
From what I understand, they've been mostly showing the PC version because the PS5 version is looking mad rough. I think they showed the PS5 version at Gamescom last month, and it was looking running in the 20s and shit. Like, it is just not up to spec yet. I think for the purposes of this presentation, they were just showing the PS5 version because they wanted to show it on the system, right? And I think maybe, Kevin, that's why. Because before, I think they were showing PC.
Yeah, it just seems like a bad look to like put that in a state of play, because that was not graphics on PlayStation 5.
That sure wasn't, no. But I think they'll get there. I think they'll, as long as they don't, Dragon's Dogma to it, I think they'll get there. So they showed Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, finally. We've known this was coming for like a fucking year, right? Any owners of it, you can upgrade for $10 to the new one. And you know what I think? Here's my theory. They meant for this game to be a bigger deal than it is. They were going to showcase the shit out of it until it leaked. And then the internet was like, why are we remastering this game? Fuck that. And then Sony pulled back on it. That's why it was just like a mention here after Lego Horizon. Because like, I think they're finally getting the message now that Jim Ryan's gone, who spearheaded all of this development on all this stuff, just remake all this stuff, that people are now sick of this shit. We don't need to remake games that don't need to be remade. And this one doesn't need to be. At least it's cheap if you already have it, if you care. But that's my feeling on it, Kevin.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of a specifically weird one. I remember you and I, when we played Forbidden West, we talked about like the mocap and the general presentation, and it was a big upgrade over Zero Dawn, and that was cool. But so was like the whole scope of that game, and it just seems like this would be a weird one to go back to, whether you've already played it or if you've just played Forbidden West. Going back to this is going to be a downgrade. You can't you're not going to like remaster like the gameplay. I don't know. It's The Last of Us Part 1 made a lot more sense if we're talking, remasters in comparison.
Yeah. And Steve, you just played this last year with the 60 frames a second patch. So like,
even earlier than that, fairly early in our show's cycle, I played because I was sitting on the free copy forever. Yeah, with 60 frames a second, it runs just fine, the PS4 version, and on PS5. And I'm like, really was looking at this, struggling with any reason to give them $10 more to do it again. And speaking of Last of Us 1 Remastered, they announced that's going to be on Royale with Cheese.
Yeah, they did.
This month. So I feel like this whole remake shit that just came out initiative is kind of done, or it's getting close to being done. Like someone finally got a clue.
Yeah, dude, this isn't the 2000s anymore. This isn't Resident Evil 96 at 2002 when we have that graphical leap. It's just not that era anymore. So we can't, I don't know why we keep doing that, right? It seems crazy that it could look that different, right? From like 6 years apart. Now Horizon Zero Dawn was 7 years ago, and it's like, it's like, hey, I guess it looks better, but right?
I mean,
we're just at that point.
And talking about the mocap, like even when we talk about like the upgrades between Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, that wasn't necessarily as much of a like technical thing as it was an effort thing. They put in the effort to do all of that mocap and like go the extra mile in Forbidden West. So it just, I mean, yeah, like you said, it's not a like tech leap thing, so it has less value in that sense.
I agree. Anything else? I like the dual senses that they showed before the PS5 Pro presentation that we're not going to talk about. Like I thought those were pretty attractive. I love the green one. Those are cool.
They looked very nice, but
yeah,
2 controllers is enough for me.
Yeah. Well, me too. As soon as one breaks, so I'll get one of those.
I got to be honest, I've really been eyeing up that like the PS1 throwback one that they announced that goes on pre-order tomorrow. I've got surgery literally tomorrow, and I'm trying to see when I get out if I'm going to be able enough to get on I'm sure those are going to sell out like a motherfucker for pre-orders.
They are. Do you remember in 2014 when they did the 20th anniversary ones for PS4 and they did the gray? Yeah, I had that shit too. Yeah. So I had those. So I'll probably look, now we're in a different place where those things sell out to bots or whatever. So hopefully I can get one. I would like to get another one though.
So the last thing they showed, Gosa Yote. You know what I liked about that game in particular, even though I never played the first one? It wasn't a chatty live service game that they just showed on and on and on for 25 minutes of our lives.
What do you... What is this, a Kotaku article? What are you trying to tell me?
They could have shoved in another live service game like a Conquered type, but they didn't. They just showed off a video game that people wanted, and
I want to know what they had planned for Conquered for this presentation.
I guarantee there is somebody with like pages and pages of, oh man, you guys, thanks so much for the overwhelming positive support so far. Man, remember when Jack, Jimmy, John tried taking those two dames to the dance, and remember that slideshow we had, and like all this other crap that never came on the air, just right in the trash.
Okay. You know how we were talking? Well, I think it was last show we were talking about if it comes back, they should just go full rated M. Those cutscenes should just have like filthy sex and just like just go for it. Show us some alien titties. Just go for it, man. Who cares? No one's gonna buy it anyway. Go nuts.
Just do it.
Fine time.
All right, Kevin, a show ago we had some illegal offshore betting, and I'm kind of getting the itch. I kind of want to spend some more money. You got any more?
Oh man, me too. I'm fucking hooked. I've been like scratching my arms vigorously in the last 2 weeks since we did that because I got the bug now.
Okay.
So we're doing it again. We're gonna do something a little bit different this time, and it's gonna be Switch 2 related again because we're in like super mad feverish. There's everybody's talking about it. So what I want you guys to do, I want everybody to give us a projected release date. We're all going to put $100 on it, and whoever is the closest, not like Price is Right rules, it doesn't got to be forward or back, just number of days that is the closest. Whoever's closest gets to take home that $300. Now, I also think that there is a definite advantage in going last picking here. So the way I'm proposing we do this is Andre has the most money, I have the middle, and Steve has the least. So I think we make Andre pick first, I'll go next, and Steve can pick last.
Okay. I think Switch 2 will come out June 27th, 2025.
June.
That's 27th. My date. June 27th, 2025.
Okay.
We're going to have a very early summer release. We got to get back to summer, man. Super Nintendo came out in August, baby. Come on. We can get back there. I think so.
I think I initially, I almost wanted to really shoot for the moon and say because it was March 3rd for the Switch that maybe they just want so intently to, like match the cadence of the announcement and everything again. But I feel like that might be a little bit ambitious. I am going to say April 4th.
Okay. 2027.
2025 right. For the record.
Okay. Steve, what do you think?
Man, I want to come in and say March 2, but you're right. They'll probably screw me over on that. So I'm going to go in with a sentimental bet. April 11th, 2025.
April 11th.
Right before my birthday, in case anyone wants to buy me Switch 2 games.
I was going to say, I thought it was the 12th or 13th or close, right? So, yeah.
You know what I think too? If any of us gets the date right on the nose, the house should give them a bonus $300.
Yes, I was going to say it's like when you nail the showcase on Price is Right when you get the exact price. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll double nobody will lose an extra $100, but the house will donate an extra $300 for the winner if they get it on the nose.
Absolutely, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, June 27th. Yeah, I'm feeling summer. We got a summer of Nintendo coming up, I think.
All right, man. Well, my itching is done. I got that betting scratch over, so I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here. We're gonna talk Emio The Smiling Man spoiler hours here. So why don't you skedaddle? You're not interested in that.
Thanks for showering with
Take
me,
that
boys.
paper bag with you.
All right. So, as I just said to Kevin, on the other side of this break, we will be talking spoilers for Emio the Smiling Man. We wanted to further our discussion from a couple shows ago, so we're going to do that here. If you do not want spoilers for that game, this is the end of the show for you. We'll see you next time on Fine Time. But if you're going to continue on with us, we will talk about spoilers for Emio the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club after this. All right, we are in spoiler territory for Emio the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club. I've been burning to say this to you. I don't even think I've said this to you out loud, but since now we're in the territory, I want to say it. I love the way, after the credits, Emio flipped to Minoru. Just flipped around, literally flipped the logo. I was not expecting that.
I can't say I was either.
It was a nice little touch. I love it felt kind of whimsical almost. It's like, oh, we're just continuing this. Excellent.
It really, really was.
I gotta okay. Well, there's a lot to go over here, I guess, but my favorite part probably of this entire affair was when Utsuki calls you on the phone after the credits and he's like, hey, you want to hear some real fucked up shit? Smoke a blunt and get back to me. Utsugi out.
Yeah, there was no quitting your investigation to get to that point. It's just come here when you're good and ready.
And you better be ready. But we'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about some stuff in the main game first. So we did not allude to this because we didn't want to ruin in our main discussion from last episode or 2 episodes ago, but there was a sort of inappropriate student-teacher relationship that they explored here. Sort of. They didn't really, but they also did, Steve.
So I think it's safe to say a good chunk of Emio the Smiling Man's M rating is tied to this creep in the teacher, Fukuyama. Easily the game's biggest red herring. Super enthusiastic about, being involved in his students' lives. And I think the game only says he's 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the student council members has a crush on him.
Yeah. So, okay. So I guess we don't have to explain the whole thing because if you're listening to this, you know what happened. But like the fact that the victim's friend, the whole crux of this was that she was upset because she fell in love with him. But how did that happen? Again, they didn't really go into it. I understand, look, teenage feelings are what they are, having a crush on the teacher or whatever. But to get to this point where you're meeting on the roof and you're yelling at him and you're crying, I love you, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't come from just having a crush on somebody. You know what I mean?
I mean, they address this all in the police station. Like, everyone is in that fucking police station.
All the characters, literally all the characters.
And the way they address it, I feel like they just barely swerve out of the way of every ratings board except for Japan going, nope, no fucking way.
I don't think that would have been a problem. You could do that.
I don't know. It's just the way he's generally creepy in general, because let's consider other things he does, because there's a number of scenes where, we're seeing the investigation from Ayumi's point of view, and this would be completely innocuous if you're an outsider looking in. You're meeting him at a cafe for milk tea. And again, Andre, I don't fucking care. The way we have to play with the menu here, it's fantastic here. He does not let you look at the check.
Mm-mm.
He doesn't let you look at things or really ask about anything at all until you drink that damn tea.
You must have the tea.
It is so fucking off-putting.
You have to have it. Dog, I don't know what you put in this tea, but I guess I must drink it now.
I mean, I know we're in a public space, but holy shit, I'm like, this is fucking scary.
It is scary. And I think they meant it to be that way, obviously.
No, it's great, but I'm like, holy shit, I get it.
Here's the reason why Fukuyama works as a character, though, and is kind of creepy. I don't believe he has ulterior motives. I don't believe that he's like trying to be a creep on purpose. I believe that's who he actually is, genuinely 100%, because I don't think you can be that person unless you really are that person. You can't pretend to be that. And his genuine demeanor is what's weird, and he's so like weird and forceful. Remember, they kept making a big deal of like, why does he stand so close to me when he talks, or you know what I mean? He keeps getting up in the camera almost, you know, like there's that thing. Also, and I don't know if you caught this from the voice acting because I don't know how you convey this in English. He always calls Ayumi Tachibana, not Tachibana-san,
Right?
not anything else. And there's no honorific, just Tachibana, her last name, and that's it. Not Ayumi-chan, obviously. Nothing. So that's kind of weird too, I think. That kind of gave it the air of like this very forward, straight-laced guy that's genuinely means to do well. It's also the kind of guy where your teacher or your student falls in love with you and then you have a mess on your hands. So it's weird.
Your character mostly, you know, just hears about what's going on. There's only a handful of times where you personally interact with Fukuyama. So by the time you do meet him in person, you're trying to have any one edge you can have on him. And he's like, hey, back in freshman year of high school, I saw her in a sailor uniform.
It was so weird. They were having the weirdest dick measuring contest over Ayumi. It's so bizarre.
What is this game?
It was funny. It was funny.
It was funny.
It was funny. But also that's a good lead in because that scene is where you're at the school and you meet with that one student who is also friends with the victim, and he posits that he thinks the victim committed suicide. He thinks the victim wasn't killed. Lo and behold, that was the case. He did not, because of the way Kuze dressed up the crime scene before you got there, which you were not privy to. Yeah, he did commit suicide, and she made it look like something else. I really didn't think that would be it.
Having a having a murder actually be a suicide and having a cop cover it up would be one fucked up plot line in an Ace Attorney thing. And they just bury that the whole time here. And we're just supposed to see him be like, oh, I guess that's what happened after all. The children were right.
Yeah, man, it's something. Did you have any theories as this was going along about Kuze? I mean, because like it felt like a little too directed towards her, even though it turned out to be her in the end. It felt a little so, oh, her motorcycle was there, but she didn't mention that to Kamihara, right? Or like her, you know, the easy answer was that Kuze's lost brother, Makoto, was a smiling man, which really was him during that scene when he stalks her to her apartment. I didn't expect for his story to be this fucked up, sick, kidnapping, manipulation, gaslighting thing where, I mean, you hear about those kind of things where someone's kidnapped as a child and then they're just manipulated for...
What I found interesting too is that, you know, Kamihara, he's the direct underling to Kuze. He's at your disposal, you know, as far as the story's concerned. He's going to help you out with whatever. He's even going to lead you to the bar in the middle of downtown next to the restaurant that they give you a phone number to that doesn't work very well. And we're going to talk to Mama Shoko, who's only 33. You know, poor Kevin, who's not here right now. Mama Shoko is 33. and she's the one lady who met the Smiling Man and survived. Yeah. But then you start getting closer, and he's like, you know what? Maybe we don't need to solve this case after all. Wait, what?
Yeah, her story, man. I tell you what. I mean, you want to talk about not so implied sexual abuse, living on the street. I mean, they're really. I mean, goddamn Sakamoto. I don't know how you grew up, but Jesus Christ, man.
And apparently he's been sitting on this story for years. So
jeez, he's been letting this cook. This is some slow cooked 40-year cook on this pot roast, man. Jesus. Like, god damn. But what an idea. I mean, there's a reason why he never gave up on it, right? Because shit. Okay, I cut this out of our original discussion because I didn't explain it well. Remember where I was trying to ask you about kanji and reading kanji and readings? I cut it because I didn't say it the way I wanted, because I couldn't say it the way I wanted because spoilers. So, Shoko Bar, because you have the character for smile and you have the character for child. I was trying to get to the point where, like, if you notice that Shoko Bar could also be read Emiko. Because Emio, if you're using it in that sense, that first character was read Emi. In the case of Shokobar, it's read Sho. So, Emiko, obviously being a key name in this whole thing, that's right there on that sign. That's what I was trying to get at with you. With the kanji. I wonder if that ever came across, but I guess it didn't.
And because I don't read Japanese, that didn't come across until the end when they spelled that out for me.
Right, but I was like, I wondered how much that's why I was asking about the English script. You know, I was trying to get to like, how much did that really help you? And it does explain a lot of things, but I guess that's a hard thing to intuit. So that's what I was really trying to ask.
I needed Kamihara to say, oh, that's the smile bar. We're going there. when we were trying to when he was trying to tell me to be a detective and figure out where we're supposed to go.
That was maybe my favorite scene in the game, actually, at the Mama Shoko, Kamihara drinking that herbal tea, or whatever it was. This is great, man. It's so good. What a game. What a game. God damn it. Okay. We've talked about the other stuff in the game long enough. I think we can talk about the post game here with Utsugi, where you actually do play as him and you go to this village and you're asking people about these events. And yo, man, I mean, you want to talk, look, domestic abuse and stuff is a part of life all around the world. I just feel, and I could be speaking from complete ignorance here, okay? So nobody come after me. I just feel like Japanese games don't usually depict this kind of thing. Am I wrong? Because I don't remember seeing this in any video game before, let alone, we're talking about a Nintendo game, folks.
Fun for the whole family, yeah. This story where Mom's gone and Dad's beating the shit out of us and we're making our own fun with the smiling paper bag until we try to run away and my sister's drowned and we bury my sister with the paper bag. And
then I kill my dad with a baseball bat.
I guess I'm going to juvie.
Well, you know what's crazy about that is that they don't flinch away from it, right? Because it's it's not that they literally depict I mean, like, you hear the sounds. I mean, that's good enough for me, right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But the thing that I did not really expect them to depict was actually Minoru cutting his face, literally his lips, with a pair of scissors to become the smiling man, to give himself the permanent smile. I mean, you want to talk about some Joker type shit on steroids? Because there's a scene, because we know about this the whole game. Oh, someone lived here 18 years ago and he left and there was a whole bunch of blood and we never found him again. So we assumed he's dead. We find out the reason why there's a whole bunch of blood is because he just permanently disfigured his face with a pair of scissors.
And like you just said, they cut that just so. That you, oh my God.
Unbelievable. Also, of course, all of what we're talking about is depicted in this, 20-minute anime episode, basically? It's a very long animation because on the main discussion, I was saying, oh, I liked how they made quote unquote cutscenes with the tools they had available to to a point and click, with static backgrounds. Of course, knowing the whole time, there's an entire anime episode in the post game, which we can't talk about. So
normally I would roll my eyes at a whole, well, here's everything that happened piece by piece. But one, this was a cold case, and we're already, given all the different perspectives of different characters and different points of time, it was nice to have it all neatly arranged for us in the end.
I think so as well. I really appreciate that they went back to the ending of the game with Kuze in the house and finding her brother and the way he came out with the machete and, killed him or whatever. I'm glad because we were not really privy to that. We just hear the gunshots and then we run back to the house. So I'm glad that they showed that too. But
not just that, like you already said, it's so fucking high quality produced.
Yeah.
It's an anime episode.
Yeah. It's legit. Man, it's so good.
Even when he's confronted, he finds the crying baby Shoko, for lack of a better term, in the alleyway when it's raining. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, dude.
What are we doing here?
Just unbelievable. The full commitment. I think that's why, you can tell this baked for so long in Sakamoto's head, because he wanted to, probably if this were a Famicom Detective Club game that came out at the time, we probably wouldn't have gotten any of that postscript stuff. They probably would have just left it up to our imagination, I think.
Well, they probably would have did what I thought they could have just done, where right before you confronted it all, where they could have called you on your cell phone telephone and be like, hey, I figured out the whole thing. It turns out everything started out in this backwater town over here. Be careful.
Yeah, man. It's what a game. What a powerful game. I think that's the best way I could describe it. It's powerful.
It really is.
And this is by far the best Famicom Detective Club game. I don't know if, if he ever makes any more, and God, I hope he does, it'll be really hard to top this. It will.
Man, I hate to be this person, but there was a Satellaview one. You think they'll tap into that?
I hope so. I mean, they could have had a sort of a trilogy of remakes, unless he doesn't consider that one not canon, but maybe, I don't know. I mean, I guess we could find a fan translation sometime and find out, although I'd rather not. I don't really like to do fan translations for games like that. So
I'll be honest and admit I always forget about that one. I only know about it right now because I've been following the Satellaview Plus Discord with great interest.
Oh,
and they're horny about it right now.
Of course, yeah, you've been into that shit lately.
I just hope there's a future for this on this series. 3 games, is that a series? Whatever. Yeah, I just hope there's more of this coming for Switch 2, because if they could do this on Switch 1, I just want to see this keep going.
Yeah. No, I agree. I hope we can keep doing this. I hope he has more fucked up stories in his head that he can bring to Nintendo and be like, hey, you know what I want to do?
More prestige games. I mean, fucked up shit. I mean, prestige games. Yeah, that's it. With their prestige titles. Yep.
Oh, no, they're getting prestige. Years and years ago, I want to say when Xenoblade 2 was first coming out, I forget the head guy at Monolith who heads up those games, but he was saying in an interview, I have an idea for a game that's dark and mature. I don't know if Nintendo will let me do it though. And then the other guy in the interview is like, yeah, they'll let you do it. Why not? And then they kind of moved on to another topic. And I was thinking yeah, why not? After Emio The Smiling Man, all bets are off, baby. We can it just, not that Nintendo has a problem with this kind of stuff. It's just that they themselves don't typically make that material.
This has been fairly critically well received, I think. I know the sales have been slow, but I feel like everyone that's picked it up is appreciating what this is,
and that's why it's here. Nintendo understands that they don't just put out if it's not going to make 3 million in sales and fuck it. They're like one of the few companies who are not that way. That's why they are where they are. And also it's Sakamoto. I mean, he has such pull at the company. I mean, surely he was just like, I want and need to do this. Well, that's all I got for Emio the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club. You got any odds and ends here before we...
Just a little odd and end. Did you do the optional personality test when you were done with everything?
Yeah.
Just Fukuyama standing there going, this is how you responded to shit over the course of the... Okay, that's fine. I know lots of games do the whole, you did shit this many times. Like, I just thought it was interesting that we're doing this in Famicom Detective Club of all things, but...
It's fun. Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting that Fukuyama's doing this, and he's like, well... That was an interesting way to carry out your investigation. Like, bitch, you're a teacher. Leave me the fuck alone.
Shut up. Give me my milk tea and get out of here. Jeez. Yeah, I'll try the tiramisu. Oh, remember we made such a big deal about the tiramisu? My God. You wouldn't shut up.
This will be my last tiramisu. Like, Jesus Christ, guy. Relax.
Well, yeah, chill, man. All right, that's about it. Thanks for joining us this episode. If you've listened to the spoiler hours of Emio the Smiling Man, we appreciate it. Follow us on social media. Check the links in the description to find us on social media. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Fine.